And they're always asking me about like, oh, how do you get this project, that project, blah, blah, blah. Like, what softwares should I learn? And I'm always encouraging them, like, develop your sense of taste because there's no substitute for good taste. You can always learn skills. There is no substitute for good taste. I feel like you might agree with me on that. Greetings and welcome back to the Kiss My Aesthetic podcast. I'm so excited to have yet another member from the FRG team on the pod today. Welcome, Molly.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
Oh, it's going to be wonderful because I feel like we've gotten to know so much of the FRG team working with you guys in the last few years. And I usually am interacting with Sarah, but you get to join us every once in a while. And it's always so great when you do. But for anyone who doesn't know you, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and who you help?
Sure. As she said, my name is Molly Gallagher, and I'm one of the partners of the Falk Reuven Gallagher team, real estate team here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I have been in real estate for 11 years, and I've been part of the FRG team for going on 5 years now. So that's me.
That's you. Did you always want to be a real estate agent? 11 years. Why did I clocked you as having almost more, like being in real estate longer with your experience and what you bring to the table?
Well, I grew up in Milwaukee and
Okay.
I've always loved houses. And I went to school, high school somewhere that was in a different part of town than my neighborhood. And I got to know all these different areas because my friends lived in all these different areas. And people would come to town and they'd say, "Hey, my brother is coming. Would you mind showing him around the different neighborhoods?" And I
Right.
loved doing it. But then I thought, this should be my career instead of other things that I had done previously. So that was sort of my entree into the real estate world.
Okay, so you started hosting people for tours. It's a very hospitality-centric business. I think this is why I've been drawn to real estate. I was just telling you before this, my mom's an interior designer. I love bougie hotels and travel experiences and all these things. And real estate isn't that far off. How would you describe like hospitality as it relates to real estate?
Well, what's interesting, I do love to entertain and host, and I set my home up that way. And I think that I was drawn to that because we are showing people how to live in a home when we are selling the home. You know, we're kind of telling a story from the minute you walk in the door to when you go down in the lower level and in the kitchen and everywhere around. And so I think that I can see that when I walk into a home and I can see how I want to help them tell the story to sell it. And I think that's been really helpful for me in my career.
I think being a visionary is what we're describing, right? It's like being able to walk into a blank room or a blank space and envision something bigger for it. Which I have always been that way. My family's very creative, but I didn't realize that people don't have this ability. Like they don't have this like internal model. Oh, you could do this and you could do this and you could do this over here.
Yeah.
What are the properties or the listings that get you really excited? And do you also feel like you can live like a different main character life in each house? Because that's what I feel when I look at the
Well,
photography.
I get excited for almost all of them. Like, I mean, the minute I walk in, I can see what they need to do. It's just getting them to feel comfortable going ahead, moving ahead with all of the suggestions. But I can see it right away. I mean, even from moving a couch, changing a color, I can see what might go wrong on an inspection, you know,
Mm.
even from the exterior. So
Hmm.
it's but it's a process and it's an emotional process for people because they've lived it in a way that they feel very comfortable and secure. And it seems silly to them to make these changes just in order to sell a home. So that can be a bit of a process and a conversation. And I think that we're very good at that.
Hmm.
I think we're very good at reading a room and telling, you know, which client may be apt to do that right away. And some people, you know, they're not doing anything. And little
Right.
by little, we help show them that this is going to help them.
Can you think of a specific seller that you went in and who was like, heels dug in, not doing that, and then ended up coming around, taking your suggestions and it worked out for the better?
Yes. It was a home. My seller owned it, and some other people in his family had lived there, and they, you know, had had some hard times. And the house was in sort of an unfinished state and a really
Mm.
deteriorated state. And initially, he said, "I'm not doing anything. what would it cost to sell it just like it is? So I laid out 3 different scenarios of how this could work out. And he ended up going with doing the repairs, painting everything. It was fully staged. And, I think he got $250,000 more than he would have if he
Hey.
had not done those things.
Right, because it makes a
So, I
big
mean,
difference in the presentation, right? Like, how you present yourself, how you put even, like, talk about fashion or branding, like, how you put forward a visual message does determine how people perceive your value. We're, like, very visual culture in that way, right? Like, the value of a property or the value of a brand or a company, takes all those different touch points. We did some rebranding with FRG. What has
yes.
been the difference between what you had previously to what you have now?
Um, I think I can say it pretty clearly and quickly. Prior to the rebranding, it had had a very business-like, sort of a boring, almost generic clinical look to it.
Mhm,
And now it has a feel, which you helped us define. It's a heritage brand. I mean,
mhm.
people who work with us have worked with us for a long time. We know these people generally, and they're like family. And I think our branding now has a more family feel to it than it
Yeah,
did prior to that. And it makes
and
it more acceptable.
totally. And more warm. Like, I think that was what came through in so many of the conversations and talking with you guys is, we've grown up here like you did. We're really, really rooted to this community. We know you go to the coffee shop, you run into people that you know. It's like a very comfortable and warm and inviting kind of idea. And I've actually never been to Milwaukee, even though some of my family grew up in Milwaukee.
Um,
I got to get out there, number one. But
Me
when I'm
too.
picturing it in my head, I'm picturing this kind of like Americana, humble, warm, but inviting, but also just like people that take care of each other. And I think maybe like, not that people don't in California, but there's a much more of like a everyone on their own track kind of vibe out here, I think, especially on the coasts. Am I right
Right.
in that assumption? How would you describe Milwaukee? What's the secret sauce that makes Milwaukee what it is?
Well, I think, one of the things you alluded to is it's a very approachable city. It's easy to get around. I'm grateful every day in my business that I can get pretty much anywhere in 15 minutes. And I used to live in Chicago, and it was you could get anywhere in an hour, or an hour and a half. And the people here are very genuine. They like living here, they like their community, and they want you to feel accepted and welcome too. And I think that people who move here feel that right away, that we're ready to welcome them into the community, help them find doctors and dentists and the right schools and even the right shop to buy certain meats or foods at. And we have all of that. And then on top of it, it's real fun. I mean, we have outstanding sports teams and the beautiful lakefront and really cool architecture and an Olmsted Park in Lake Park. And, I could go on and on. But and being rooted here too. And the other thing you mentioned, humble. And I see that all the time. And people who
Mm,
come here from the coasts are thrilled. They say people don't talk about money here. They
mm,
welcome us. They want us to have a great life. And I think our team really tries to embody that too, and we feel like a family to one another. And I think that's what helps us help families too.
totally. Because when you see the family, you can see like yourself in them. I come from my family all works very collaboratively with each other as well. You work with your family. Tell us what that's like.
Yes. So my daughter Bridget has joined our team, and it's been fun for me to see her. She's a real team player, and I guess I was about to say I didn't teach her that, but I guess to some degree over time I have taught her that.
Hmm.
But she is willing to pitch in. She wants to learn. She does anything that anyone on the team asks her to do. And she's fun too. And I think her clients see that in her, that she's also smart enough to know when she doesn't know the answer and to seek out that information, which I think is super important.
And the benefit of having a team with decades of collective experience, right? So, you only came on about 5 years ago with Falk and Reuven was the
Right.
existing, right?
Right.
Tell us how that conversation happened and how it's evolved because I feel like you guys added a lot of people in the last 5 years.
Right. So I had my own team in Milwaukee and was working, and I would run into, well, initially Rick and Katie when they weren't even together yet. And then
Okay.
they joined forces. And then Katie, I would run into Katie all the time, and she'd say, "You'd be the third leg of the stool." And we do have a similar way of doing business
Sure.
and similar families we know and clientele. And she's also from a very big family. So I thought, I think this is the right fit, that I needed them and they needed me. And we've just had an amazing time together and been very successful. And then we just continue to grow and
Yeah.
have really great teammates and, some other exciting things possibly in store. And so it's wonderful times here in Milwaukee.
I think it's also nice when you can find those partners that have complementary skill set to what you can do. We talk so much in entrepreneurship about like sticking in your zone of genius and like being really good at the thing that you're good at and getting help with the things that you're not so good at. What are some of the things that you think you do particularly well? And what are some of the things that you're so grateful that you have team members to help with?
Yeah, I think that I really can see when people are struggling or needing
Mm,
help, needing support. If something that we've discussed hasn't gone over well, I can pick up on the vibes of that. And, like I was saying, sort of in a family, I sort of have that mother role in our FRG family. And, when I had my own team, what I would say I don't necessarily love doing is I can do it, but it's not my wheelhouse
sure.
of looking after the financial tracking, day to day
Yeah.
forecasting, that sort of a planning that I
Mhm.
leave to Rick. And
Mhm.
um, I think that has served us both really well on the team.
Yeah.
And Katie is sort of like our of council, chairman of the board, grand dame of the FRG
Uh-huh.
family.
I love
And
that.
and everybody, Katie's sage wisdom from years and years of transactions has just been just such a gift to everyone on the team.
Completely.
And
Completely.
she's so willing to take people around in her car or take some time with them and go have a coffee and talk about where they're headed. And they always say, ask the busiest person to do something to get it done. And that would be it.
Totally. And with decades of experience, you can weather the storm a bit better, right? Like when you're just
Yeah,
starting and a lot of I think young people and maybe a lot of people that listen to this podcast as well is like the first time that there's something crazy that happens in your business, it's devastating, right? It's like,
right.
"Oh my god, like the house is caving in on me and everything's going terrible." And like it feels like world ending and
Yeah,
then you're realizing that that's just an experience that the next time something similar happens, you're like, "Oh, okay, I have some resilience here. I have some scar tissue that's like, okay, I know how I would do this differently now because it doesn't phase me as much." And I think when you're in those early years, it's hard to like understand that those like highs and lows are going to eventually kind of even out. Is that making sense?
it makes complete sense. And, I see it even in myself every day with conversations that we have. Somebody was asking me about my job, and I said, it's really not about the houses. I mean, if you enjoy having difficult and uncomfortable conversations over and over, then get into real
Then this
estate.
is the job for
This
you.
is the job for you.
Uh,
Because, it's not just getting a listing and putting the sign in the ground, but it's, working through a transaction and through the inspection transaction, which is very difficult.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
but we always try to say that everyone has choices, and the more I have conversations that way, it makes it easier for the person receiving the information. I'm
Mm,
telling you this, but we can do A, B, or C. And
mhm.
that sort of diffuses frustration when we're having a conversation with a client.
Right. It's giving those options all out, just putting everything on the table, as I like to say.
Right.
Yeah. If your client sites are stunning but stuck on page 7 of Google, it's time to bring in reinforcements. The powerhouse women led team at Searchlight Digital takes SEO and Google ads off your plate so you can focus on what you do best, creating beautiful brands. Whether you're after a white label partner or strategic consulting, they make optimization feel a whole lot less overwhelming. Use code KMA100 at searchlightdigital.ca for $100 off a 60-minute Pick My Brain call. Because what's the point of great design if nobody can find it? Again, that's searchlightdigital.ca. Use code KMA100 and get found. Real estate is a really interesting topic right now. I think there's so much going on in the world. There's so many fluctuations in the market. Are we going into a recession? Are we not? I know we just talked about being more towards the like emotional creative side, but from your big picture view, what do you feel like is happening with real estate right now? What has you excited? What has you maybe a little bit more cautious? Or what feedback have you gotten from clients, buyers, and sellers kind of looking at this year or the last few years as a whole?
Yeah, I think that people right now are just in sort of a little bit of a waiting zone as they wait to see sort of how certain things shake out
Yeah.
in the world and in the economy. But the great thing about Milwaukee is that we never really experience the really high highs or the really low
Mm.
lows.
Mm-hmm.
So we're somewhat insulated from that. And it's a little bit steady eddy with just a few bubbles that we're seeing in certain
Sure.
communities that are a little slower perhaps right now. But if you have to move, you have to move. And
Yeah.
so, and if you need to sell your house, you need to sell your house. So I think we really try to keep people understanding that there is a buyer if you have to sell your home right now. There are buyers out there. There definitely is a lack of inventory in a number of the communities that we service. And we are just encouraging people to continue on the path with the right guidance and direction from us.
Yeah, that's where you have to have that trusted team, right? It's like
Right.
figuring out, okay, what is the best strategy here? Because there is some strategy involved. You've got, it seems like in Milwaukee, a really nice blend of old historic homes and really exciting new builds. I know you guys partnered with Harmony Grove recently. That's
Yeah.
a total new build. What things have you excited about kind of like the new architecture, new build space? Like what kind of lifestyles or features or things about these homes are exciting to you? Or and or I'll let you choose which way you want to go first. The historic homes, like, ooh, I love like the details of the molding and the ceilings and the a vaulted ceiling and a big open entryway and beautiful yards. Like some of the pictures of these properties are insane to me. They don't even look real. Which one gets like tickles your fancy?
Well, I grew up on in Shorewood and on the east side of Milwaukee, which is near Lake Park. So it's definitely the old homes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm drawn to that aesthetic. And I think, like you said, people are shocked when they come to Milwaukee at the architecture and just how
Yeah.
stunning it is. And, families that lived here, the Palm Olive, all the big brewing people built these just stunning homes with details that you can't get now. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it's very refreshing. If you've traveled through Europe and especially Harmony Grove is just such a iconic for that
Mm-hmm.
particular area to have a new build like this that is so fresh and new and easy living. Walking
Mm-hmm.
into a perfect new house that
Mm-hmm.
is easy to take care of, and certain issues that come up in these old houses don't come up in architecture like that.
Right.
And it's exciting for me because there's not a lot of room on the east side in Shorewood, Whitefish Bay for new construction. So it's
Mm-hmm.
exciting for us to be involved in something that is new, and I think that they're going to be super successful.
Yeah, I love seeing how Gurham's like thought process was coming through about there being no threshold, so it's easier to clean, and that you had kind of better light control. And I think ever since COVID, people are really embracing, not that they didn't before, but that indoor outdoor seamless living experience of like feeling like you could sit inside but get all the qualities of outside. You guys have some cold winters. So
Yes.
it's different than like sitting out on a California patio. But I think that that's really kind of a fun way to, again, it seems like you guys have such a good range and good variety. You've got a dedicated section in the newsletter called Molly's Room Picks. How did this start?
My room crush.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah,
well, and I like to try to balance it between homes that we actually have listed and then homes that I see, in a book or somewhere. And
sure.
it started just because I love like talk about architecture books and design books. I have gajillion of them at home. And I just find them so inspirational. And it helps
Hmm.
me when I'm at someone else's home direct, redirect, something comes up in my brain of something I'd seen before, an idea that we could do that would make the room seem bigger. And that indoor outdoor space too, I love. And Milwaukeeans, people who live in Wisconsin are quite hardy. So they're fine sitting outside when it's 55 degrees,
Yeah.
you know, around a fire pit. And
Sure.
I think more and more people have realized that they can create space like that in their house too,
Hmm.
whether the space was originally intended for that or not.
Hmm.
But the
Hmm.
room crush is fun to sort of dig down into a particular room and talk about what I like about it. I always try to be complimentary. So
Of course. Of course. No, I think about that a lot with this podcast too, and like the people that we talk to, and I've gone and started talking to high school students once a semester. So I'll
uh
go in there and they're always asking me about like, oh, how do you get this project, that project, blah blah blah, like what softwares should I learn? And I'm always encouraging them like develop your sense of taste because there's no substitute for good taste. You can always learn skills. There is no substitute for good taste. I feel like you might agree with me on that.
I agree with you 100% on that.
Right? So
Yeah,
even the things that you pick, like start to find the patterns between like why you're picking them. What's exciting about that? Like if you put everything that you've ever loved into a pile, like there are consistent themes even if you didn't realize that that's why you were picking them. Yeah.
right. And, we have homes that maybe aren't staged, it's a
Yeah.
regular home, but they're very Spartan. And I think when buyers are walking through a home, they want to feel a warmth, a coziness. They want
Sure.
to see some books that, oh, they read that book or this book. And so even when we have staged homes, I go in and add blankets, real flowers, orchids, other books, just to give it a little more richness that I think really helps people feel comfortable in a space.
Oh, and we talked about this so much in the branding process. Like I remember you saying this in the initial like brand questionnaire of like wanting it there to be warmth and depth and texture and like an actual like life to the quality of the stuff. How has that kind of come to fruition with your like tactile like print materials? We did this great video when we actually announced the branding. What did it feel like to kind of like hold the brand in your hand in that instance?
I loved it, and even one of the things I loved the most were the matches because
I
it's
know.
something I used a lot, and I just like the little shake of the container, but to see
Hmm.
it and the bags that you created for us and, the signage, the stickers, the hats, it just it made me feel like it had all come to life finally,
Yeah.
and that was really satisfying to see that and the candles that we have, and I know that we're working on some other things right now too, so I'm looking forward to seeing all of those.
And I think when things are branded well and you're proud to wear it, you like carry yourself differently, right? And I never wanted us to create like stuff for FRG that just felt like an advertisement or a billboard. So like even down to like the hats, right? We talked about that. And this is one of my
Yep,
favorite things that we've done. And I use this example with clients all the time is like, don't just do a hat with just like your logo for your real estate group. Like, you know what I mean? Like you
yeah,
can, but instead we went and created artwork for each of the areas that you service and then made kind of almost as if it's like a sports team or a university. Like it has kind of more of this like identifier. Like it becomes almost like wearing like a luxury brand, right? Like you want to wear it because it's saying something about you to the person that's seeing you.
right.
I think that's such a fun way to reinterpret like what real estate swag could be. I mean, I'm a kid of the '90s. Like I remember getting the like refrigerator magnet, like blank grocery list with your realtor's headshot on the bottom, right? How has that space evolved, or what things are really effective with your team? Like of what we've made so far, what are things that you're like, oh yeah, people are loving this?
The hats have been great, and, it was funny, my son's at the University of Wisconsin, and he FaceTimed me the other day, and he's walking down the street in his River Hills hat,
I love it.
and
I love it.
and, and he's very picky, so the
Mm,
fact that he chose to wear one of our hats,
there
I
you
thought
go.
and he's, shopping it around the University of Wisconsin too, so,
So fun.
yeah,
It's so
and
fun. And I think we're like in the middle of the NFL draft. So like it's almost when like the player gets to like pick the hat of the team that they're going to wear, right? Like there's a ceremony in that. I think that's a really fun extension that we came up with. So pretty proud of that one. Yeah.
yeah, and
Glad
the bag too, people
the
have
bag is
really
fabulous. The
Yeah.
boat tote. We love a boat tote. Another thing that I think FRG does particularly well is hosting events that aren't just open houses. As kind of community builders and opportunities to say thank you to past clients. You guys have some really great signature events. Is there one that sticks out as your favorite?
Well, the apple orchard event in the fall has really grown and is very exciting. And the thing that's fun about it is it's all ages, it's great weather, you're out in this perfect setting doing something active, and you get to interact and meet all these other clients because we work constantly, and yet I don't know, some of my teammates'
Sure,
clients. So
sure.
I've heard about the transaction, but it's wonderful when I get to finally meet them in person and share about their process with our team. And frequently they're giving us, accolades about how great the process was and how wonderful it is to be at the event. And it's very rewarding, to be a part of that. And then we're doing one recently where we're having an event with all the brokers, the other agents that we've partnered with.
Hmm.
And it's a really cute tagline, Partners in Lime, because we're having it at a
Nice.
lime margarita place. So,
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
yeah,
I think that's what makes it something that you want to belong to. I can imagine if you're an agent that doesn't have a big team or that you are a solo act like you used to be, that when you see a group do something, you're like, oh man, that looks like kind of nice. What would be your message to the person who is you from 5 years ago? Who's like, man, I'm really doing this on my own and it's a grind.
yes, I have said this to people so many times. Just to be able to hash out an issue or a problem that
Mm,
you're having with somebody on the team and not feel like you're this random person calling them out of the blue, it has been so helpful. And
yeah.
to have some of the pressure taken off some of the chores that are involved in just a daily real estate transaction has freed up so much more time to do other things and to do them well. And so I think that
Right.
a number of people who have joined our team have seen that having the help of our listing department and the closing department just frees them up, makes them feel happier. Their families are happier because they're not on their
Yeah.
feet constantly, and it's been outstanding.
Oh, we love that. That's a good warm fuzzy. Speaking of expanding and kind of growing, you guys have a very, very cool announcement to come. I won't spoil it, but could you give us a little bit of a preview of this next era of FRG?
Yes, well, we are going to be joining forces with just an outstanding um, group that has been in the business for a very long time, but in a different part of town. And the way that they do business and we do business is very similar, but we've been servicing different communities, and now it's an opportunity for us to both help each other and become just this incredible and outstanding group you know,
Yeah. Yeah. So this is
rising tides raise all ships.
exactly. And this would be serving kind of a different market. So you would consider FRG Greater Milwaukee, correct? This other group
Correct.
is
They service the Lake Country area
Lake Country.
predominant.
Yes. So those are definitely the good, like, room crush potential
Yes.
projects, right? Like these big,
Yes. I might
beautiful
be
lake
doing an
homes.
outdoor room crush there. I mean,
Oh,
they have
yeah. I can totally see it.
which would be very fun. And have a lot of friends and family out there too, so I know the area well. So
Yeah.
it's a growing area as well.
And to your point that you just made, right? Like whether you're a solo agent or you're even another group that's doing good, honest work well, those are great partners for FRG. Those are great people for you guys to even pass referrals to each other because that's the kind of you want to know that when you do pass a referral to someone, and the same goes in my business, is like you want to know that that person's being taken care of. And so if that referral is bad, that starts to hit on your reputation. But if that referral is good, man, oh man, are people happy with you? And that's the kind of like community building that I think you guys have that's so special because you guys are so Milwaukee and you're so rooted in that. You're not this big box real estate group that's in every major city in the US. Like this is here and nowhere else. I think
Yes.
that's extra important. Is there anything that you feel that you describe to people who've never heard of you or don't know Falkreeve and Gallagher that are kind of like you could kind of sum it all up in a big and put a big bow on it of what FRG does that's so different?
I think what FRG does that's different is we really listen. And I think I alluded to that before, but I really make a point of trying to fully understand whomever I'm meeting with, try to pick up on verbal cues, body language, their home. And I think that everyone on our team is quite good at that as well. And we discuss that. And our whole goal is to make everyone feel comfortable and to understand that we really take it very seriously to give just the best advice that we possibly can, that we're capable of giving them, to make this process that can be incredibly emotional and stressful, successful, and fun. I mean, I
Yeah.
always say to people, I know this is going to be stressful, but I really promise I'll try to make it fun because
Because real estate is just shopping, if you think about
right.
it. It's like we're just trying to find the perfect outfit that you want to wear for the next 20 years. It's fine.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So good. Well, where can everyone find, follow, get in touch? I mean, check out everything we've done with FRG. I've been shouting it for the rooftops because our team loves working with you guys. But where would someone kind of take those next steps to reach out?
They can find us on our website, Falk Rubin Gallagher. We are on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I'm trying to think of what our tagline is.
We've kicked around a few taglines. I feel like
The FRG team.
the FRGteam.com would be the website. But the tagline that sticks out to me is we know Milwaukee because we're your neighbors too.
I like that.
Yeah, because that has that good kind of like
Uh-huh.
wholesome family. You guys work with so many like cross-generational families, like the downsizer to the one that's dream home to the first-time home buyer. Like I think that I really admire that the range, right? So range not only in property, but the range of like the different types of people that you get to work with. I think it's super impressive.
Yes. And I mean, I guess I summed that up too. I was everyone's neighbor too. And then now
Yeah,
I'm, helping them and selling them homes. So I like
absolutely.
that.
Well, we'll keep rolling with it then. We'll
Okay,
keep
do it.
going on the social media with those taglines.
Put 'em
Amazing.
on it.
Well, thank you so much, Molly. And thanks everyone for listening. If you love this episode, please feel free to share it, send it to a friend, save it, leave us a comment, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much, Molly.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Bye.